But in the 21st century, deleveraging just means walk away from your obligations and stop paying. Okay? So that's how it works. And the cost of capital in the future is going to go up. I know how you could solve the mortgage problem overnight here. Forget Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. They were insolvent in 04 and 05 and kept pretending they weren't. We don't need Fannie and Freddie. What we need is the mafia. Alright? Because there's no question of collateral with the mafia. You don't need any documentation. It's like you pay or you lose your finger. Manufacturers' new orders. You see how things are turning the corner here despite government? The American people are tired of hiding. They've gone from deer in the headlights, scared to death, to, I'm sure all of you probably got the same kind of phone call I got from somebody when the S&P's is 666, and they call you and go, Betty, I'm staring at the monitor, I'm about to push the button, I'm going to sell it all. I remember looking at my monitor, and I didn't, but boy, I wanted to that day. We went from deer in the headlights afraid to where we've been this year, which is madder than a hornet. Everybody in this country is mad. And that's good, because the next step after being mad is to start doing something. I think business people are tired of hoarding cash. I think they're tired of deferring decisions about mergers and acquisitions or hiring people or investing in their future. I think American people are tired of putting their money in a mattress and sick of earning 0.02%. My wife did about a year ago. This is the tough thing. I bet you get this question even more than I do from your spouse. My wife goes, Mark, you got a PhD in corporate finance, right? And I said, yeah. And she goes, do you know how much our money market's earning right now? 0.2%. She said, can't you do better than 0.2? That's a challenge. That's when you start thinking, yeah, maybe I can. Gross private domestic investment, this was the slowest one. Even invested in everything in this country. It's turning the corner. You see all of this? This tells me, if it wasn't for the government and the banking system, I would say we are well on the road to recovery. All of these signals tell me we're on the road to recovery. But where is my reticence coming from? Corporate hiring in major corporations, 31% say they're going to hire, only 23% say they're going to fire. But I have to tell you, look at this, because this was just updated a couple of weeks ago, and it's down. We're kind of losing momentum again here. 39% said they were going to hire 3 months ago, and now only 31. And 3 months ago, only 17% said they're going to fire, and now it's up to 23 again. So we're losing some momentum here. I don't like the smell of this. And so here are the two challenges for America in terms of job growth in the future. Very simple calculus in my mind for 2011. States, cities, counties, school districts are going to have to lay off people and are freezing hiring, and they'll do it all of this year. So we're going to have negative job growth coming out of all of government. So the simple calculus is these people, small businesses, have to start hiring. They create 80% of the new jobs in the country, and they employ 2/3 of the workers. So the question is, how likely are small businesses to start hiring? And here's their survey from the National Federation of Independent Businesses. People planning to hire in the next 6 months, and if you're way in the back and you squint, you can say, wow, look at there, that's skyrocketed. Yeah, but if you read it, it's skyrocketed back to zero. Small businesses are not in a mood to hire, and in my mind, almost all of it has to do with the cost of health care. I had a 62-year-old guy come up to me after a meeting last month or two, and he goes, I got a law firm that's got 170 lawyers in it, and not one of them can tell me what my health care is going to cost me next year. So you don't hire. And then you get a stupid government that comes out and goes, we'll give you a $1,000 tax credit to hire somebody. I mean, these are people that obviously never work for a living. Because $1,000, you're not going to hire somebody with a $1,000 toy, not knowing what their health care is going to cost and all the rest of them. It's ridiculous. These people don't have a clue. It's all private sector. This has to be a private sector recovery. Otherwise, this can last for 10 or 15 years. A lot of you in this room are old enough to remember what it was like to buy the stock in 1966 when the Dow was at 1,000, and you wake up 16 years later in 1982 and the Dow is still at 1,000. That's 16 years of nothing out of equities. I don't want that, and you don't either. And that's what happens when a government doesn't let the market clear. It's Japan all over again, and none of us want this. Now is a good time to expand. 5% of them say now is a good time to expand. So the question is, what is it going to take to give small business people some confidence to start hiring in the future? And I can tell you right now, a political campaign ad at the national level last week says that the American Chamber of Commerce is stealing our democracy. All right? That's the kind of negative go signal that sends all these people back to the woods. It doesn't matter if you take 60 morons out and you put 60 slight morons in place. All right? You get all Twitter about it. It's like, wow, these people might do something. Well, if you have a president with the attitude that the American Chamber of Commerce is stealing our democracy, that's not a go signal. That's one of my trend lines. I'm looking for go signals for business to give them some confidence to invest again. And a FinReg bill with 2,300 pages with 230 rules in it, none of which have been made yet, and they tell me it's going to take 2 to 5 years to do it. Your friends in the banking system aren't going to understand their business for 2 to 5 years. I heard that from the FDIC people, and I'm saying, you don't understand. Our country can't take another 2 years with a crippled banking system that won't make any loans. These people just don't get it. I said, you folks need to fix this FinReg thing in 100 days. And why can't you fix it in 100 days? Do you need 5,000 more staff to do it? Then hire them. Our country cannot tolerate 3 to 5 years of stupid FinReg stuff where people don't know what their business model is. Same way with your doctor. Ask your doctor how they're going for the doctor's haircut that's in the new healthcare thing, cutting their fees by 20%. Ask them how. Don't ask them that until after they've drawn your blood, of course. But it doesn't matter what industry it is; they're all under duress. The energy business in Houston, Texas. Yeah, you might buy some apartments down there. It's one of the fastest growing areas, one of the strongest muscle-bound cities in America in terms of exports. But if your government comes up with a moratorium on oil and gas drilling, tough luck. You lose. That's what socialism is all about. You put your future and your hopes in the hands of a government bureaucrat, and you better hope you win, because if he or she likes you, you win, and if he or she hates you, you lose. Just ask the people here in Las Vegas. Herbert Hoover. Here's some of his policy mistakes. I like Star Trek, so I'm calling this the Hoover Maneuver. What did that guy do? He had a recession with a banking crisis, and he turned it into a 12, 15-year depression. What did that idiot do? Well, darn it, we were in a heavy recession with a banking crisis, and that numbskull raised income taxes. Can you believe that? And tightened credit. Can you believe that? I'm glad we're not doing that now. I'm glad that Bernanke is a student of the Depression, because he's protecting us from the errors of the Depression. And when he tells you it's a fiscal problem, see, if I was Ben Bernanke, I would quit. And here's why I would do it. I would quit and say, folks, I can't do this anymore. You hear me talking to you about fiscal problems, and you're not getting it. I'm going to quit. I'm going to tell you what's really the deal here. These people are destroying our country with their unwillingness to balance their budget. And I can't do anything about it. I can print $5 trillion and lower interest rates to nothing, but if small businesses won't hire and engage, I could print $10 trillion and nothing would matter. That's what I wish would happen. I don't want him to quit. I just want him to come out and tell people that. See, that Greenspan's famous quote from 15 years ago was, Congressman, if you think you understood what I just said, I must have misspoken. So you expect that. I don't call that lying. I just call that part of the job. Problem 2, the banking crisis hasn't been solved. It's just been anesthetized. And here it is. We're in the biggest credit contraction since the Depression. This chart goes back to 1948. This is the amount of loans outstanding at any given time. And you can see, going back to 1948, you can see what's going on right now. It's not just real estate loans, it's consumer loans, it's business loans, it's all across the board. Credit is the lifeblood of entrepreneurship and also capitalism. You can have the strongest businesses on earth. They're determined. They want to succeed. They're born to do it. And you take that athlete and put a plastic